Welcome to Master Domaining. I'm Gene Pimentel, and in this session we'll cover more member questions, and this is part 2. So in this session, I'll answer some of the more frequently asked questions from members. Question 1. I'd love to know where to find good domain names. Where can I find them? And a related question is, do you plan on covering a way to obtain 1 to 3 word generic domain names, preferably with the .com extension, with as little headache as possible? Well, there's a wide open question. A great question, since that's what's on every domainer's mind. And the answer is very uncomplicated, but people tend to really complicate things thinking it makes it more important. Listen, stop overthinking things. Domain names can be found virtually everywhere you look. Notice things around you. Notice signs and billboards. Notice store names. Notice new products and technologies on TV. All of these things can be turned into great domain names with some imagination. I'm always paying attention to things happening around me and checking domain availability when I hear new words and phrases. Of course, there are many more systemized ways of finding great domain names. We've covered lots of them in previous training. One of the most time-tested methods that I use practically on a daily basis is filtering down the daily expired domain lists. If that's all you ever used, you could make a killing with domain flipping. Remember, almost 100,000 domains expire every single day, and among that list are always hundreds of highly desirable and highly marketable domain names. Then there's an almost endless supply of stellar domain names at all of the major auction sites. You can pick up domains for very little money and quickly flip them for thousands if you do the necessary research to locate buyers. There are dozens of domain name generator type websites where you can create really great domain names out of thin air. One of my favorites for finding 2-word domains is leandomainsearch.com. I almost always walk away from that site with a handful of new registrations. So that's how you find domain names. They're everywhere, a virtual endless supply. Another question is, I had a domain name that I was thinking about offering to a fairly big corporation but didn't know whom to approach. Can you advise? And the answer is, for the most part, I focus almost all of my attention on smaller businesses where you can communicate with the owner. However, there is something to be said about selling a domain name to a large corporation. They have huge budgets and will pay enormous amounts of money for the right domain name. One of my domain associates registered a domain name for $8, held it for several years, and was approached by a corporation who ended up buying the domain name for almost $500,000. Those cases are very rare, but they do happen. Usually, it'll range between $5,000 and $100,000. And if you're consistent in your domain efforts, you may score big on occasion too. So how do you get your foot in the door with the large corporations? First, you do research. Learn who all the key people are in that corporation. You must have a domain name that is of great interest to that type of business. You've got to climb the ladder of authority to get to the decision maker. Call one of the lower level managers at whatever level is approachable. You can call this person. Let's say her name is Sandy Toomey. Let Sandy know that you have a domain name that can really benefit this company. Ask who is the right person to speak with about this in that location. They'll give you the name of who to talk to. Let's say it's Tom Smith. Ask what Tom Smith's position is and make note of it. Next, call Tom Smith's office, and you'll be screened by the receptionist. Normally, at this level, all salespeople are stopped dead in their tracks, but you have an ace up your sleeve. You tell the receptionist that Sandy Toomey sent you to speak with Tom Smith. You're simply leveraging their chain of command. If that doesn't work, you can ask the receptionist how you can reach Mr. Smith. That may yield an email address that he personally checks. So yes, it can be tedious and nerve-wracking, but the payoffs are worth it. Now you can also check sites like LinkedIn.com to find contact information for many of these high-profile executives. There are also websites where you can purchase all the information you may need. So let's get on to another question. This member asks, is it safe to send your ID and bank account details to CEDO for verification? I ask this because in my country, Holland, this is very strange and warned about. Well, I can't assure you of safety on any website, but CEDO has a long, solid reputation for reliability and trustworthiness. It's common for this type of site to require sensitive banking data from you. So you have to take some risks when working on the web, but this is a very small risk. Another question is, regarding multi-site management, how do you manage multiple WordPress sites, updates, security, emails per site, etc.? Do HTML sites work better? Do you use both HTML and WordPress? And my answer is, I learned early on that building websites can be a very time-consuming task. Maintenance of a large number of websites can be even more tedious and time-consuming. I don't typically build sites to sell domains, but when I do, I highly favor HTML-based websites. There are many gorgeous HTML website templates available, and they install by simply uploading the files to your hosting account. Maintenance of HTML sites is also very minimal. Now, WordPress is a fantastic website building tool, but along with the amazing features comes lots of headache. WordPress sites are database driven and have to be installed in a much more elaborate way than HTML sites. You can't just upload your files. You have to follow an installation procedure. When you're dealing with dozens or hundreds of websites, using WordPress can be a full-time job just in maintenance and never-ending updates and security fixes. I do use WordPress often for websites that I'm personally using or wish to develop, and I've found the best way to avoid a lot of time-consuming tasks is to manage all of your WordPress websites from one central control panel. And for this, I use a plugin called WP Central Hub, and this is a fantastic tool that allows you to manage everything from one central dashboard. It's a huge time saver and makes everything so convenient. You no longer have to log into each of your WordPress installations separately and update all the plugins, etc. separately. You simply log into your one central dashboard and everything is updated and managed from that one location. As for emails, I don't create new email addresses for each website. That would be a nightmare to manage. I simply use normal Gmail accounts to receive email from many sites. So keep the questions coming and I'll answer them when enough are received.